Hi guys, so I've been playing a lot of Kill Team Into the Dark recently, and well, I obviously absolutely love it. And I've also recently made, or you may have seen, I've made a couple of Kill Team boards. This was one of the first ones, obviously 3D printed, lots of rust effect on this one. I've absolutely loved playing on it. And then I made another one when I realised I'd made that one the wrong size when actual Into the Dark came out. And you'll have seen me make this board. And this one was an FDM printer, and again things came out really well. And obviously I made all the Into the Dark pieces magnetized, just so obviously, well, it makes it a lot easier to connect and disconnect them. So obviously 2 wasn't enough, I wanted to make a third one, and that's exactly what I've done here. And just like the previous 2, it starts with an MDF board. Basically I had 3 of these cut up, and I used obviously one for one of the previous Kill Team boards. So this isn't going to be the exact size of a real Kill Team Into the Dark box set, but as I play with a mate, that doesn't really matter. So to make the floor pieces as well as all the terrain pieces, I got these all from Warlock 3D Models. There's links in the description, guys. They've got a Facebook page as well as a website, so go check them out. And I'm using my Anycubic 3D Mono X to do all the printing out. Again, links in the description, guys. Go check Anycubic out. I've had this printer for over a year, no problems at all, and absolutely love it. It's got a lovely large build size, or build plate even. So yeah, you can get lots printed on it. So all the parts from Warlock 3D Models are absolutely awesome. Obviously my only problem is I'm tight. So as you can see, I've reduced the height down by, well, quite a lot. As I don't need connectors to connect these pieces together, as I'll be gluing them down onto the floor. So I've made mine super thin, but the great thing is they've still got lots of detail in them, which just goes to show just how well these pieces were made. So yeah, it was a case of printing them all out. Unfortunately, these were just the wrong size for me to get 2 on each sort of print. So I did 1 at a time. But again, because they were so thin, obviously a lot less resin is used. And it only took, I think it's about 11 minutes per tile. So yeah, so there's a lot of getting up, getting down, getting jiggy with it. I don't know what I'm saying. But yeah, you know what I mean. So yeah, there's a lot of printing done. But each one took sort of about 11 minutes. And I decided to print them all out first. So as you can see, obviously the board that I've got, I've marked out on there the square sizes, just to make sure that when I do glue these together, I don't then end up with gaps rather at the end, or an over sort of flow at the end. Having the lines there just makes it easier for me to make sure that each one is in its correct position. So if there are any gaps in between them, then near the end I can then just fill that with some grouts. But yeah, so using super glue, in the past I have used the good old Gorilla Glue, which is really awesome, but it does take a lot longer to dry. And as well as being tight, sometimes I can be a little impatient, especially when there's so many of these things. So yeah, I've done super glue. And obviously the one other main thing I wanted with this board is I wanted to make a lot of it magnetized, so bits wouldn't fall off. So all these sort of column bits, as you can see, you've got magnets underneath, just so that when I come to arrange the board however I want it, all those center bits will just sort of, well, magnetize in place. Which I really love, because then you say you can just pick this thing up and it won't fall apart. As well as obviously the fact that when you do build this thing, because normally when you go to open the doors, sometimes the whole thing sort of moves or shakes. But because these are magnetized, everything stays in place. You can open doors and it's all good. So yeah, so I've gone through putting a little bit of grout here and there just to fill in any smaller gaps. But then as you can see, there's a big gap on the end. And this is something else I wanted to build, and that is, well, it's kind of like his and hers dice trays. But as I play with my mate, it's more of a his and his dice trays. So we've both got our own separate dice trays, which is going to be pretty awesome. And the bits in the middle, I'm going to put smaller sort of trays in, and they're going to have all the tokens and counters and anything else we need. Just so then this thing's going to contain everything in one board, making it easy to move around, easy to keep together. And well, I do simply like things nice and neat and tidy. It's not quite an OCD, but yeah, I do like things in a particular way. And this board, I've used it once now, absolutely loved it. Got on really well with it, and yeah, I'm really pleased. So I don't think I'm going to be making any more Kill Team boards, but I never say never, because you never know. So painting the board, well, I know you guys keep hearing me say it, I know some of you get fed up. But yeah, I'm kind of pretty much slap chop painting this board, as bizarre as that sounds. So yeah, primed it all in black, obviously good old sealant all over it. And then yeah, going over obviously one of the biggest sort of makeup brushes that I've got, Obviously, I don't put makeup on, but these are the best sort of brushes for dry brushing. Again, I'm cheap, I'm tight. These brushes, it's a pack of 8 of them from Amazon for £3. You get some small ones, which are great for obviously the miniatures. But then you get some nice big chunky ones, which are great for, well, terrain pieces. So yeah, obviously going over, doing a bit of grey dry brushing. Yeah, usual thing, no real pattern to this. Just trying to hit any raised areas, just to sort of get some highlights and some shadows in the whole thing. And then once that was all dry, I then went over and did some dry brushing with some white. This is the result I've got. So just like the Into the Dark Kill Team board, I'm going to have it in sort of 4 different sections, and each section is going to have a different colour. So using a good old Army Painter speed paint, that's exactly what I'm going to do here. And yeah, so for this, obviously, I wanted it to look a little bit irregular. I didn't want it to look too sort of neat and tidy. So that's why I'm just dropping bits of paint here and there. So then when I get my dry brush, or my brush, and brush it all in, some areas are going to be a bit sort of redder or deeper than other areas. And then I'm kind of like feathering it off to the edge. Because obviously I want the 4 colours to kind of like merge into each other. So obviously starting off with the corners, it'd be nice and red. And then when it goes up to meet the other sort of 2 edges, it'll be a bit more feathered. Just so they sort of like meet and mingle into each other. Which, yeah, which will come out a good sort of result. And the great thing about doing obviously the 4 different corners, different colours, is then when we play different kind of objective games, then we can start in different colours, which will be pretty cool. While I'm having fun with my makeup brush there, I just want to say a big shout out and thank you to all my patrons, as well as my sponsors, Easy Roller Dice and Anycubic. There are links in the description, guys. Go check them out. Obviously, loads of great, awesome dice from Easy Roller Dice, and obviously Anycubic, well, fantastic 3D printers. They've sent me a couple in the past, and I say the Anycubic Photon Mono X is my go-to, and yeah, thoroughly pleased with that over the last couple of years. And there we go, that's the board painted, so really pleased how it's come out. Obviously the yellow, well, I think as we all know, the Speed Paint Army Painter yellow isn't really a yellow. It's more of a, well, a little bit of a greenish colour, sometimes orange, but yeah, it's definitely not yellow. So now I can move on to my dice areas. Obviously I want them to make it a little bit more fancy, neater and nicer. And because the dice at the moment, they make a lot of noise just hitting the wooden board. So I'm using some orange felt. Some of you may know orange is my favourite colour, so that's why I'm using orange. So I've got a template on the piece of white paper. Unfortunately, it's a bit difficult to see on the screen, but there is a template on there. And it's just a case of cutting around that so it's the right size. And then I'm going to use some glue here. I think I'm using the Gorilla Glue, just because I haven't used that for quite some time. And that's going to be the best thing for me to stick this down. And I'm using a nice old brush here, because obviously I don't want to use any of my, well, any more nicer ones. Well, I say nicer ones. All the brushes I've got are relatively cheap. Again, I've said it before, I'm a little bit on the tight side. I do like my value for money. So, yeah, so I'm just using some cheapest brushes here. Obviously, the Gorilla Glue, as long as you wash the brush straight away with some nice warm water, then it should come out. And then, yeah, there we go. Lovely orange sort of dice trays. His and hers, or his and his, or them and thems, or toaster and toaster, whoever it might be. And yeah, really love how it all works. So I've played a game with it now, and it was just nice to have everything to hand, everything in its place, and yeah, it just all looked and felt really good. So there we go, that's the board. Yeah, looking really good. So really pleased with how it came out. The pieces, say from Warlock 3D models, absolutely awesome. Especially considering I did flatten these by a hell of a lot, so they still had a lot of definition in them. So yeah, guys, go check out Warlock 3D models. He's on their Facebook, as well as obviously having the website. So again, obviously I've got the walls from Warlock 3D models, but again, these were relatively thick. And like I've been saying throughout this video, I'm a little bit tight. So both wanting to make the tiles thinner, so I was going to use less resin, so obviously they're a lot cheaper. But not only that, obviously the less resin, it's going to be the quicker to print them. Or in this case, not exactly quicker, but I can get more on one lot of run of prints. And again, this is why I love the Anycubic Photon Mono X, because the build plate is so large. And as you can see, I've got a shed load of pieces on here, which is pretty awesome. So I think this run was about 3.5 hours to print this off. And obviously I did that a few times. And this is obviously the great thing about having the 3D printer. At any time I want to change the layout, if ever I need more bits and pieces, I can just print them off, which is pretty cool. So a whole variety of obviously walls, doors, center columns. Similar sort of style of what I've just done with the board. Primed them in black. Really wasn't too sure what sort of look I wanted to go for these, so that's why I'm keeping it simple for the moment. And so these have all been primed in black, and then they're going to get a good old dry brushing, as this really is my go-to method with any kind of painting now. I've got quite a lot of black primer cans, so yeah, everything's going to get primed in black, and then dry brushed in grey, dry brushed in white, and then yeah, presumably contrast speed paints over the top. I'm going to start doing a bit of edge highlighting on things, just to obviously make things look, well, as best as I can. But for the moment, yeah, this is definitely a great sort of start to anything that I do. Just to say, it brings out obviously the highlights, the shadows, and just makes it easier then for painting afterwards. So with these wall pieces, I really wasn't too sure how I wanted them to end up. So that's why for the moment, I'm just going to leave them in this sort of black and white sort of mode of looking. Just because I really like it as well. I mean, for this sort of spaceship, it looks kind of cool and eerie. And again, I'm really not too sure how I want these painted. So guys, yeah, if you've got any ideas or tips and tricks on how you painted your walls, or how you think I should paint these, yeah, by all means, let me know in the comments. Because at the moment, I have no idea what sort of colour scheme or look or rust bucket or whatever I want it to look like. And obviously this is the bit I love. I can pick this thing up, everything's magnetized to the board, and yeah, bits aren't going to move, which is pretty cool. So for all the marker pieces as well, I put magnets in these, just so again, everything now can be attached to the board, and when you're playing it, you won't, well, if you accidentally knock it, nothing is going to move, which I just love. So because previous to this, whenever we're trying to open doors, you'd try to open a door and you'd move a bit of the wall, that would move another bit of the wall, and yeah, before you knew it, several bits had moved. So yeah, nothing is moving on this one, which is just lovely. And I say I love the fact I've got this integrated dice area, token area. These are like the health tokens, and yeah, we've both got our own sort of dice trays. So to say I love it is an understatement, because I love this. So I've played one game so far, playing weekly now, which is pretty awesome because I just love the kill teams. Okay guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to leave comments, let me know what you thought about this, or what you'll see, or even just say hello. Yeah guys, take care, subscribe, like, share, all that good stuff. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.